On this week's episode of the WNP podcast, we look at the little guys, the teams in the shadows, the ones who don't get any love. Plus, we make our picks for Week 7. Stay tuned. Episode 118 of the We're Not Professionals podcast. I'm your host, Mike Mitchelson, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, Chase Crawshaw. Chase, how you doing?
I am doing pretty swell. Thank you for asking. That lawnmower starting right when the music was going down. I felt the table vibrated, so that was a little annoying, but...
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, hopefully you guys can't hear that. Other than that, yeah, I'm doing good, though. How are you?
I am doing great, and doing something a little different today. I don't know if... this will actually get out, but we're trying video podcast. And if you're on YouTube and you actually see a video right now, then it worked successfully and we have a video show now. But if you're on YouTube and you don't see any video right now, then something went wrong, something screwed up, and we will try it next week. But it's going to be a good episode. We're going to be talking, of course, about the little guys. The Lions, because they're so little. The Jags, another one of Chase's teams. We're going to be talking about them. A couple other teams. We also want to talk about the week of reckoning when it comes to fantasy football. Then we're going to be making our picks. And we got a special announcement for next week. Next week is going to be a lot of fun if you are a WNP listener. But, Chase, let's hop into the first thing we need to talk about. That's the Lions and the Bengals. We happened to be at the game this past week in Ford Field. I had a really fun time. I don't know why everyone was hating on me, but I thought it was great.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. It was bad for the Lions. They looked like the worst they have all year. I mean, they at least in every other game they looked like they had a chance. Where really in this game, like they didn't have a chance. They really showed it. Jared Goff is terrible. Only got garbage time yards. Defense is terrible. Everything is just absolutely terrible. The Bengals looked pretty solid. I don't even think they looked like unreal. They just looked better than the Lions, which also isn't too hard. It was still a good time. I still have fun at the games. I don't expect them to win, so I just go out there, try to enjoy myself, and I got that accomplished.
And the Lions now the only team that don't have a win this year. This was a Lions team I was very afraid to verse. As a Bengals fan, I thought it was a trap game. I thought that the Lions playing for their crybaby coach were going to actually be...
The Bengals play for Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor doesn't cry.
They play in spite of Zach Taylor, sorry.
Zach Taylor don't cry.
They play in spite of Zach Taylor.
But I thought that the Lions would have given a better fight against the Bengals. That wasn't the case. I think it was a little mix of the Lions just were at their absolute worst that they have seen all year, and the Bengals were just the more talented roster. So I had fun. Jamar Chase, he had a couple big plays. Didn't get that touchdown, but did have a couple big plays. The offensive line actually looked really good in the second half, and the run game was easy to maneuver against the Lions. And, yeah, Jared Goff, it seems like Lions fans are finally starting to realize what I've been telling everyone, and that's that Jared Goff is not a good quarterback.
I mean, we knew coming in that he was obviously a significant downgrade from Matt Stafford, but was someone who, he has someone with the right pieces around him can like have success, which is like what happened in LA. So he's not like a terrible quarterback. He's just not very good, really. Honestly, like he needs supporting pieces in order to like succeed. So he's like borderline more of like a game manager, but like a lower end tier game manager type quarterback. And you know, obviously you can't manage games you're in Detroit. You got to try to win the games, and when he tries to win the games, it's ugly.
Yeah, and I saw something, I don't remember who it was. I think it might have been Peter Schrager, but someone said that Jared Goff's time in LA needs to be celebrated, not looked back on as in like, oh my gosh, imagine what we could have done if we had a different quarterback. I disagree. I mean, I'm not a guy who likes to give out trophies to the people that, you know, get 8th place in a tournament or something. I'm not, hey, everyone deserves a trophy. Jared Goff was solid at best when he had the pieces around him, but to celebrate his career in LA, I don't think that there's a reason for that. He didn't win a Super Bowl. He didn't win an MVP. He didn't do anything spectacular.
I would agree, but that reminds me. Speaking of, soft mentalities and Jared Goff,
Yep.
did you see what Good Morning Football? I can't remember who the dude was on the show. Ex-NFLer was saying about what's his name, Dan Campbell. So Dan Campbell came out and said publicly, Jared Goff needs to be better. He needs to step up, be a leader, play better on the field. Then whoever was the ex-NFLer was like crying on the show, saying, "This is how you lose a locker room. Oh my God, you can't say this about your quarterback. You got to have these discussions internally. Oh my God." You think he didn't have these discussions the past 6 weeks and all of offseason? He 100% did. Don't be so soft. Like, this is just the stupidest narrative to spin. It's something that's happened. Like, the Lions have always been, the doormat in the NFL. They've been walked across because they just haven't really set themselves up to be better. Now that they're trying to take the right steps and, rebuilding, going out on limbs, taking chances, something that they've never, ever done before is take chances. Now they're doing that. They're getting the shit kicked out of them by the media, and everyone's calling them out, and they get no positives, everything just negatives by nationwide media and like shit like that. It's just so stupid because like what kind of like argument is that? Oh, you don't want to hurt your quarterback's feelings. Well, he needs to be better. He has been absolutely horrid. He's not wrong. He's had those conversations and in person. They clearly didn't work. So you got to go out there and do it a different way. It's finding, different ways to get motivation. Sometimes you need external motivation. This is one of those external motivators. And if you really think it's that soft, then, you're like Darius Slay where, you get hurt by Matt Patricia saying one thing about you making a bad play.
Well, I mean, we know now that Matt Patricia was in the wrong on a lot.
He's a bad coach, but still, that whole story, like, I'm on his side on that one where, like, saying that, like, I don't want to like quote it word for word, but just pretty much saying that like Slay couldn't hold the guy's jock on that play. Well, he couldn't. Like he got burned badly, and you got to be better than that. If that's really what's going to turn you off on a coach because he's calling you out and telling you to be better, then you just need to grow up.
I think also if the rest of the players in the locker room don't see that Jared Goff hasn't been the best quarterback he can be, hasn't been the guy, I don't think that's going to turn a locker room away from Dan Campbell because they're probably thinking the same thing. Dude, you need to do something here. You're sucking.
They're for sure thinking the same thing. Like, you can see on film, he'll have receivers that get open, in that like 11 to 15 yard range, but he'll immediately, throw it into the ground or he'll try to dump it off to the running back. And, that's fine. Like, you can do that. But if you do it 25 times a game, they're going to know what's coming. They're going to stop it. And if you're not willing to force the ball downfield, then like, why would they even bother trying to cover those guys? Like, they know you're not going to do it. And he doesn't take any of those chances. And they need to with this type of team. If you want to try to win, be competitive, you don't win by, playing methodical football. You win by taking chances. You win by being bold. You win by going downfield. Like, it's the only way you win.
I know there was a couple replays, I should say, that I saw where there were a couple of times where Jared Goff had an open man 15 yards plus down the field, but he decided to dump it off instead to Swift or Jamal Williams or whoever it was. And that ended up in like a 3-yard gain or a 3-yard loss. It was in between the two.
Yep.
So, yeah, Jared Goff definitely needs to step up, and this could be a spot now where the Lions are thinking, all right, this is... I know there was a lot of talk, do the Lions focus a quarterback? I remember saying that if they are the worst team in the league, they need to go after a quarterback. You're on a different page where you don't want a quarterback regardless this draft because you just don't like the draft class. Now the only team without a win. A lot of Jared Goff criticism. Quarterback could be coming.
I saw a mock where the Lions took Sam Howell with their second first-round pick, which was that 28th overall. If they're going to do that, then that's fine. But to waste, that high pick on a quarterback is exactly what that is, a waste. Because none of these guys are like it. They're really not. If you're going to take one that high, it just has to be Malik Willis or Matt Corral, because Matt Corral's shown the most on field. Malik Willis shows the most raw potential. Like those are the only two guys you can consider at this point to take first overall. But what the Lions should do, if they finish first overall, is trade that pick down to someone who is a lot more willing to take it. Like the Steelers, they're more willing to take a quarterback, especially if they miss playoffs and they have pick 9 to 10. You get their first round pick this year. Next year, you get a second, third round pick as well. That's great. That's perfect. That's what the Lions need to do. They just need to, realize it's about getting as much talent in as possible, not necessarily just having someone with the high draft capital. Because as nice as it would be is to have like a Kayvon Thibodeau or, a Kyle Hamilton. If they're picking first overall, they're probably going quarterback.
I just feel like from what I've seen so far, no matter what, the first overall pick isn't going to be a quarterback. Even if it's the Lions.
It shouldn't be, but at the end of the day, we know the value that NFL teams put on the quarterback position for good reason. Mm-hmm. And, they're like the Lions are a team that could be looking for quarterback. The Steelers, the Eagles, possibly the Dolphins, possibly the Texans. These are all teams that could be in the quarterback market, and someone would end up willing to trade up, I should say.
I don't know if someone would be willing to trade up to number 1 right now for a quarterback. Like if there was a Joe Burrow or a Justin Herbert, obviously, but I just think that everyone is so disappointed at every single quarterback this year that I don't see it ever happening. It could if a quarterback steps up. But
and teams are bound to trade up in the draft anyway. Like it always happens. The first overall pick gets like not moved very often for obvious reason. Yeah. But like teams in that like 3 to 7 range are like one of those picks are traded almost every single year because like that's just kind of how the draft works. So this year with the way it is, hopefully someone's willing to move up. Even if someone wants to move up that badly for Kayvon Thibodeau, maybe they think that. Maybe Washington, I think this would be a stupid idea.
Right.
But I'm just saying, for example, like, Washington's a team that is underwhelming pretty heavily. Maybe they think they just need that one true elite piece and they're good to go. So they trade up for like a Kayvon Thibodeau and they trade their what is going to look like be like pick 6 or 7 plus a little bit extra too. Something like that. Maybe it could happen. It's not, it's a different weird scenario that's more unlikely. But the Lions, if they pick first overall, they really need to try to trade that pick.
And I feel like Washington. With already, we talked about 5 great defensive pieces.
Yeah, that's why it wouldn't make sense. It's just just a good example I could think of.
All right, well, let's talk about your Jags. How about that?
Sure, why not?
Well, actually, before we go to the Jags, let me just quickly say about the Bengals. They are now sitting at 4-2. They play the Ravens this upcoming week. The Ravens are 5-1. If the Bengals happen to beat the Ravens, the Bengals will not only be first in the AFC North, but first in the AFC completely. So.
Not a big deal.
Could be really fun. But yeah, let's hop over to the Jags. You are a Jags fan. That's your number 2 team. You're a big fan of Urban Meyer.
Nope.
He gets his first win. That means he is not going to get fired anytime soon. He should probably get a big extension.
I disagree, but they did play some grinded out football. If you get what I joke at there, but the Jags, they got the win. I picked them to get the win on the show. I think I was the only one that did, right?
Let me check for you.
Well, while you're checking that,
No, you weren't.
Oh, just Garrett.
You had a lot of people. It was a 50-50 split.
Oh, wow.
So you, Chris, and Garrett took Jacksonville, while Graham, Johnny, and I went Miami.
Okay. Well, Trevor Lawrence still, he played better, but still is not playing like a first overall pick should be, honestly. James Robinson is very clearly one of the best running backs in the league. Like it's very
best
clear.
Running back in the league.
One of the best running backs in the league.
Yes, one of the best in the league.
Top 10, easily. What? Easily. Most people would agree.
Okay. Let's see.
I guarantee you most people would agree. Like it's very clear the talent he has. Like he has burst, he has power, he's able to catch the ball, he has vision, he has everything you want out of a running back. There's nothing that he can't do.
I think I found your TikTok burner then, because I saw a guy who said, "I need to trade Antonio Gibson plus a very good wide receiver to get an elite running back like James Robinson." Turns out he traded Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, and Juju Smith-Schuster in a dynasty for James Robinson.
Oh, okay, well, no, that's stupid.
So is that you? Is that your burner?
No, that's stupid as hell.
I'm like, what the hell is that?
But like, they just need to let he got 17 carries, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Like they need to just let him do his thing. On top of that, 3 catches for 28 yards. Like he looked really good. He looked like the best player on the field in this game, and I don't think there's much of a question. Like he clearly is that good. And speaking of good, Jamal Agnew, the Lions legend.
Yeah,
dude, 5 catches, 78 yards. I mean. This isn't going to keep up. Like, let's be real. This is just Urban Meyer wanting his speed guys, not utilizing Laviska Shenault for whatever reason. They use him, Like, he got 6 catches for 54 yards, but, like, Shenault's not used in this kind of package that he was beginning of the year where they're using him as a utility guy. They're not giving him carries. They're not using him around. They're just keeping him short routes with letting Agnew kind of run around the outside. But Agnew, Marvin Jones, 2 former Lions, both played well in this game. Those 2 receivers, Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault, like, if Trevor Lawrence targets each of them 10-plus times a game, and then Dan Arnold 8-plus times a game, that's their winning recipe for throwing the ball and then running the ball. Like, James Robinson needs 20 touches a game, at least, let's be honest. Like, not necessarily carries, but just touches.
No, see, their winning game plan is 250 yards on the ground and 250 yards.
Yeah, something that's literally, like, never been done over a season long.
Yeah. So
literally not even close to being done.
As we were talking, I was grinning because I was thinking about that. I just looked it up to see if that was actually the winning game plan. It was not. 312 yards for the air, 84 on the ground.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, it's a nice goal to shoot for, but
It's literally impossible. It's literally impossible. It's never happened before. It's seriously never come close.
So, well, it's not being a bad coach. It's just being an aspiring coach to hit that level of play. 250. I would, give Urban Meyer props on that because it's pretty damn good. Any coach who wants that much success deserves at least a raise and an extension.
Okay, all the coach needs is to want to have success, not to actually have that success. Yes. Oh, okay.
He's got to win.
Going over the Dolphins real quick,
they suck.
They do. They're horrible. They're horrendous. Brian Flores actually might get fired, which is crazy. And right now he probably doesn't deserve a job. Like the team doesn't even look good offensively or defensively. That sucks. But it's probably the case. Why isn't Myles Gaskin getting the ball more? I don't care if he's only a solid NFL running back, because he might be all he is solid.
Mm-hmm.
He still is the best between Malcolm Brown, Salvon Ahmed, and him. He very clearly is. But he got 5 carries in this game. Did he have any catches? I don't even know. But he had 2 catches for 5 yards. So he needs to be put into a rhythm where he's getting the ball 15 times a game at least, so he can try to do something. I don't know why you won't use his talent. It's something that I complain about with the Jags all year. They're not using talent the right way, and the Dolphins do the same thing.
We talked about it in last episode how coaching this year has been horrendous. There's been a lot of bad coaching. We talked about Urban Meyer in that episode and talking about how he is definitely a candidate to go. He is on the hot seat. And then we brought up Brian Flores. There's some rumors out there that he is losing the locker room just a little bit. Coming into this game, I thought no way in hell is Brian Flores and his Dolphins going to drop one to Urban Meyer and the Jags. That happened to be the case. So does Brian Flores now rank higher on the hot seat than Urban Meyer?
No. Maybe. I don't know.
It's hard.
They're both up there.
Urban Meyer has had a lot of bad things happen, especially the incident in Ohio. A lot of bad things. But we've seen over the course of the season, the Jags have gotten better. So if you're looking at strictly football...
Go ahead, finish your thought. Sorry.
If you're looking strictly football, I would say Brian Flores probably has to be on the hot seat higher than Urban Meyer.
That's a good strategy. Go out week 1, look as bad as you can, look absolutely horrendous. So there's only way you can go is up from there, and that's what the Jags did. That's what the Jags have done, because they literally could not get worse than they started.
Urban Meyer has big brained all of us.
Yeah, no. Those guys are both up there in consideration for losing their jobs, of course.
As well as Dan Campbell.
No.
He doesn't have a win yet.
Okay, what do you do? I'm not a fan of firing first-year coaches. I'm really not. Even if it is Urban Meyer and he's dog water, I still odds are most of the time you got to give him benefit of the doubt. That guy does not deserve it. But another guy who kind of doesn't really deserve it anymore. He's making it look really bad is Nick Sirianni. He's making the Eagles look absolutely horrendous. They look so bad. And
is it him or his terrible defense that has no actual star pieces and a terrible quarterback?
Yeah, I wouldn't fire him this year. Let's be real. But at the end of the day, he's not putting his team in the right situation. So when Miles Sanders isn't ever getting the ball, and when he does get the ball, he has success. He still doesn't get the next game. So it's just horrible game management and asset management. And I know the talent is underwhelming. He's not going to get fired, and I wouldn't fire him either. But he has done a bad job. Even Robert Saleh in New York, he hasn't done very good either. Pretty much all these new coaches have done very bad jobs.
The Sirianni was a weird hire to begin with. I don't think anyone saw the hire and was they had the whole Doug Peterson getting ousted very late into the coaching carousel and everything. So that one, understandable. Robert Saleh, I haven't really seen anything amazing from him or the Jets, but I think the Jets have arguably the worst roster on paper. I think there's other teams like Houston, obviously, but they've got a bad team and a quarterback that likes to take a lot of risks. So as long as Zach Wilson continues to have the confidence and can just minimize his risk taking a little bit, I think that Robert Saleh can still be successful. Their only win is against the Titans, who just beat the Bills. So... yeah. I got to give them a little bit of a shout. I'm not too worried about them. The Jets overall are a team that just I haven't heard anything out of, and I think that's good. People aren't talking about, they're just terrible. There's no way they're getting back to any level of good whatsoever. they're bad for a reason. They've got a bad roster, and there's nothing toxic coming out of that locker room, so I'm okay with it.
I've heard a little bit, but nothing like to the point where like anyone's calling for anybody's heads. Just I heard a little bit like it's just not like great like asset management, and that's really what we're seeing with a lot of these young coaches. And like Dan Campbell's doing it too. He's not managing his assets well. Like DeAndre Swift doesn't get the right carries. You know, Hawk was getting targets in some weeks. He's being used more as a blocker, which like is a benefit of having a guy like Hawk. But at the end of the day, he is the best receiving option on the team. He has to get the targets. Like there's just no choice. You have to use someone else to block there. Throw out an extra offensive lineman if you have to. So just these new coaches have had a really tough time using the players the right way.
And it's hard to deal with how many injuries we have this year. I know the Jets, I think 3 of their offensive linemen are hurt right now, so that's obviously going to hurt Zach Wilson and the team overall. But a lot of bad stuff happening with bad teams and new coaches. Let's talk about teams that had a lot of success last year that have not been able to bring that success forward onto this year. The Miami Dolphins we briefly hit on. Also, the Washington football team, 2 teams that had top 5 defenses last year, 2 teams that were on the brink of playoffs for Miami, and then Washington actually making it into the playoffs. I had both of these teams in the playoffs. I know you had Washington, like me, winning the division and making the playoffs. What happened?
Well, Fitzmagic going down, it definitely hurt them a little bit offensively, but the defense looks horrendous. So I don't know what's going on defensively, but they need to figure that out. Miami, that was low round anyway. Tua getting hurt didn't help, but even when Tua's come back, they haven't looked any better anyway. So, you know, I'm not as surprised by them as I am the football team. The football team's still second in their division right now, but that's because their division's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Could they figure it out? Like, you want to say yeah because they have the talent on paper. I don't think the Dolphins can figure it out at this point. I think it's kind of set in stone. Like, well, this is what they are, and this is what's going to happen going forward. But you know, Washington, they've got enough of those like good enough pieces in play. You know, the defense has a crazy amount of individual talent, like a top 3 defense, like really on paper in the league, and it's just not coming together. So I don't know what they got to do to fix it, but if they can figure it out, you know, they could be a team that gets hot at the end of the year and sneaks in.
The football team and Dolphins, like I said, both top 5 defenses last year. Can you guess where they are for scoring defense right now in the league?
Specific numbers, ranges, what?
Whatever you want to do.
They're both bottom 10 for sure.
Yep.
I'm going to have to say that, let's give specific numbers. I'm going to have to say that Washington is going to be 26 and the Dolphins are going to be 29.
The Washington football team is 32nd.
Oh, wow.
And the Miami Dolphins are tied for 31st.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yes. They have the 2 worst defenses in the league. The Giants are tied with the Dolphins. So those are the 3 worst defenses in the league.
Go Lions.
The Lions are the 5th worst. You got the Chiefs sitting at the 4th worst.
Yeah, the Chiefs suck.
Why don't we talk about the Chiefs then? The Chiefs as well as the Seahawks and the Colts. I think those are 3 teams that played pretty well last year. The Colts could have been a little bit better if they had a better quarterback. We thought they got that with Carson Wentz over Phillip Rivers. Those 3 teams have disappointed this year, that's for sure.
Well, Mahomes is washed. We've learned that.
Fair
he
point.
is no longer a starting caliber quarterback of the NFL. He needs to retire. So now that that's out of the way.
You know what I think they should do?
What's that?
Call up in-division rivals, Denver Broncos, get Drew Lock over there.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
He would take that job, honestly.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's going on. Mahomes is taking more chances, I think, than normal this year. Like, not like a lot more, but enough where, like, it's a little bit more noticeable. And his chances are just, you know, like the risks that he's taking are failing. Or the previous years, his risks were always succeeding, and that's worry about it. Now that they're failing, it looks a lot worse. He still is clearly very talented. You can watch him make incredible throws, and the release off his arm, it's incredible. But it's just his risk taking. They're not very calculated. So they need to try to reel that in. And then the Colts, I don't know what's going on with their defense. Their defense is underwhelmed too. I know their offensive line's kind of in shambles. Carson Wentz, he's been fine, honestly. Like, he's only thrown 1 interception this year. He's the lowest of all qualified quarterbacks.
Bad play calling.
Yeah, it's just really not great coaching. And then the final team you mentioned, Seahawks, you know, started off a little underwhelming. They can do it sometimes. Sometimes they'll start off really hot or really slow, and then they kind of get back to their level and get to the playoffs. But now with no Russell Wilson, kind of in a bad spot. I don't know if they're a playoff team.
definitely feels like they are going to be on the outside looking in, especially with having the division that they are in. Having to play the 49ers, Rams, and Cardinals twice this year, not going to be fun. The 49ers currently sitting at 2-3. Trey Lance, he's gotten his first start. What do we think about the 49ers? Do they actually have a chance to make the playoffs, or are they still a year away? Even though they went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, but then last year had the injuries. Now this year they've got injuries as well as a rookie quarterback going to be starting to play. So
no, I think they still have a chance. It wouldn't surprise me if they miss at this point with the way things have looked. The running game has been very weird. Elijah Mitchell's been the dude where Trey Sermon struggled and Raheem Mostert got hurt in the first game. So, it really is just about how well if Trey Lance starts really the rest of the year, how many games he starts, how well he can play. If he can keep his team in games, maybe win his team a game or two, then yeah, they can be a playoff team. But, if he has some struggles, which I think is very possible with what Trey Lance does in the field, and if they're not really fully adjusting the game plan quite yet for him, if he has a little bit of struggles, then things could fall apart. So it's really kind of hit or miss. I'm going to lean towards them getting into the playoffs than out of the playoffs. I have faith in Trey Lance that if he starts the rest of the year, that they'll be just fine. There might be a couple games that are icky, but I really think that he is this, very special quarterback.
Most of the little guys have been hit on so far, except we are missing one. And this episode is dedicated to talking about the teams that really don't get the publicity that maybe other teams do, like the Cowboys always getting the publicity. How about the Houston Texans, currently sitting at 1-5, a team that I think all of us, or at least a majority of us, had them being the worst team in the league right now. They're currently 1-5. Their first win came in week 1 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. How do you feel about their situation?
They fought hard against the Patriots. More power to them, but they're not very good. We knew they weren't going to be very good. They don't have very much going for them. Coaching is whatever so far. It's hard to really judge coaching with that roster. David Mills has had some games where he had success and other games where he's looked horrible. There's really not a whole lot to say about that team. We know they're going to be bad. They are, in my opinion, the worst roster in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And really, you can't hate on him too much. Hopefully Brandon Cooks can get traded out there and you have a chance to do something else because he's a talented receiver who has been very good for them when he's been getting the ball actually thrown his way into his hands. But really other than that, they don't have anybody else that's truly star worthy or anything like that.
I feel like that's the biggest bright side right there in Brandon Cooks. I'm also hoping that as this season goes on, we continue to see more and more of Nico Collins and Brevin Jordan, two guys that I think have talent, and they could be decent pieces for your team going forward. I hope we just get to see them play, and if they do, hopefully we get to see that potential that we think they might have.
Yeah, I mean, Nico now that he's healthy, he played last week and played pretty solid. He had a few catches. I don't remember the exact stat line, but he played well, so hopefully going forward, if he can see a decent chunk of targets and he can have a little bit of success, maybe I can start him once or twice in fantasy.
And if we didn't mention your team, that's because your team is not one of the little guys. So congratulations. I know.
But real quick, I know I'm cutting you off. A team that would not get mentioned in the big guys either, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're kind of, they got Kyle Pitts, which is fun. They got a big win over the Jets in London, even though it got scary towards the end because I think they were up 17 going into half, and then they almost choked away the game.
Yeah, but
I just don't like them.
Yeah, we don't need to go into them very in depth. It's just they're kind of like the Andy Dalton of NFL teams. Where the Andy Dalton scale. If you're above them, you're
really?
you're a good team. If you're below them, you're a bad team. I think it's where the Falcons are right now.
Really, I feel like the Falcons are 22nd.
Yeah, and it would mean 23-32 are bad teams. I'd say it's fair.
You think 21-1 though is good?
Yeah, that's playoff contenders. Yeah, playoff contention type teams. Yeah.
I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers are a playoff contention.
Well, no,
I've got them over the Falcons.
No, we don't need to talk about them ever because they're icky. But
same with the Broncos. The Broncos suck. So if there's any Broncos fans listening, they suck.
You'd have to sit down and do your rankings. But I would say 10 teams are very safely, really realistically did not have chances before the season started and don't have at any point during the year. Then the rest all have chances. And that's kind of they're that team that's right there, separating them.
Okay. I'm okay with that, I guess.
It could be a different number than 10, but just kind of, off the bat like that. Just I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. All right, well, let's move into fantasy, shall we?
We shall.
This is the week of reckoning. Week 7. Let me pull up the teams that are on bye right now. You've got the Buffalo Bills, so you don't have your Josh Allen, your Stephon Diggs. Dawson Knox got hurt, which is unfortunate for Knox owners. Dallas, Zeke Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott. So many viable guys there. The Jacksonville Jaguars, your James Robinson owners. And you got the Chargers, the Vikings, and the Steelers. All teams that have viable fantasy players, they're all on bye. And then we got to talk about all the injuries too. Like this week, if you're not screwed by buys or injuries, then you got to be the most lucky son of a bee ever.
So, and normal like leagues, like not counting our guillotine league, which I like that league's just a funky league anyway, so let's not even like worry about it. And
it is for money though.
Yeah, it is. Cool. Yeah, and I'm in an okay spot anyway. But every other league that I'm in. What is that? 7 other total leagues. There's only one league where I'm not completely bent over in terms of guys I can start, and that's your league. It's your dynasty league. I'm in an okay spot, but everywhere else, my whole bench is injured. My whole bench is on bye. In Johnny's dynasty league, 7 of my starters are on bye or injured this week. So like those guys are just gone. I have literally a whole new team. Just like my JV squad got called up. It is insanity. I know everyone out there pretty much everyone out there is feeling the same pain.
Yeah.
Fighting for guys on the waiver wire, losing battles, especially in Fab when you had to spend big on a guy like Dearness Johnson if you wanted to get him, just because you had a hole at the running back position. It really is a mess. And I'm gonna be feeling the pain. I'm definitely gonna be losing more than I'm winning this week for the first time all year.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Christian McCaffrey. Don't like him injured. Antonio Gibson in the same exact league. He has been questionable and hasn't been practicing. Then in Johnny's league, I've got Nick Chubb, who's out. I've got Najee Harris, who's on bye. So, like, there's so much of that. I feel bad for Davey. He's got Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and J.K. Dobbins as his top 3 guys. They're all gone, so...
Clyde as well.
Oh, yeah, he does have Clyde as well. So, like, there has been so many injuries, and then the bye doesn't help at all. I feel okay in Johnny's league because a lot of my team consists of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver core. So I feel okay, but I mean, I'm screwed in the guillotine league if I didn't get Aaron Rodgers from you. So
yeah, that trade worked out pretty well for me. I like, even though I'm a little spooked because now in that league I have my quarterback on bye and Amari Cooper on bye, but I still got Derrick Henry, who I can safely trust is going to be able to like cover enough for them where I'm not going to get eliminated. That's all I got to worry about. Where now going forward, my only intersecting bye weeks are Derrick Henry and Robbie Anderson, and Robbie's been a non-factor anyway, and I've still been able to win, so like I'm not overly worried about that. I think I'll be okay, so I feel like I'm in a very good spot in that league.
I will say this right now, going forward with any fantasy that I do, which I might not be doing any more fantasy because
you said this like 3 years in a row though.
Yeah, but now
it's different.
I'm serious now. I do not want a top 3 pick ever again. Because if you don't hit on your top 3 pick, you're screwed. And like CMC would hit if he's healthy. Dalvin Cook would hit if he's healthy. Like the only player that was taken in the top 5 this year that has actually done what he was expected to do has been Derrick Henry. And I know a lot of people shaded Derrick Henry this year because he's getting up there in age and he's had a ton of carries. So I don't want a top 5 pick ever again.
Based on how he's looked, though, there's literally not a single other player you can even consider next year the way things stand for first overall.
I agree.
There's not a single other player you can't even think to consider Dalvin Cook or CMC.
I agree.
Like you just flat out can't. Right now, he's 140 points ahead of the next scorer.
That's why I do not want a top 5 pick because I would have the same concern. He's getting older. He has a ton of carries, but there is no reason you should go anyone else. But what if next year is that year where he starts to dip? Then you're screwed again.
It's possible, but
so don't give me a top 5 pick. Give me like 7 where I can take Davante Adams and be very happy.
I'm officially not betting on him to ever dip. I'm not betting on it until it happens.
Even when he's 40, you're gonna be like, he's a Tom Brady of running backs.
If he's still going, then yeah, not until it happens. I will hold him in Dynasty until he's not worth even trading more because I'm not getting value for him. Like I don't care. There's just no point. There really is no point. So like you just kind of got to eat it. Say if we're to do some weird league, if we're to like draft for the rest of the season plus next season, like a redraft league, like Derrick Henry's number 1. I think Najee's my number 2 pick.
He's been good this year.
I think it's the RB4 right now on the year.
Yes.
And
I've got him in 2 leagues.
Yeah, and
including the dynasty. Let's go.
And think next year the offensive line could be better, and there could be a better quarterback too. And at that point, he's still going to get targets because he is good enough in the receiving game. It's very evident he is a very good receiving back and is a very talented runner as well. He's worth it as the number 2 pick.
Well, hey, you talked about one rookie. Let's go over to Jamar Chase. Where are you taking him if it's in a similar format where it's the rest of the year this year and all of next year? Is he a first-round pick, or is he more of a second-round guy for you?
I wouldn't take him in the first round. You could consider it. You really could. But I think you'd be better off going elsewhere. If I had pick 11 or 12, I would take him on that turn, in the second round. I would go with running back that's available there in that range, and then go Jamar Chase, my second pick, because at that point you're waiting a little longer anyway. And Jamar Chase has the wide receiver 1 potential for sure, every year.
And it feels like those are the only 2 rookies that have been great.
Yeah, and
Javonte Williams has had a little bit here and there. Kadarius Toney had the 1 big game, but
Javonte Williams is not his fault. He's literally getting 50% of the work, but he looks incredible doing it. So if you want to take your flyer on him, you could in the second round, but he's not a first round guy, and then the second round's even still a little iffy. But Kyle Pitts, everyone is just down on this thing, waiting for his breakout, and he had that big week finally.
Yeah.
But before that week, he was still on pace to break the receiving yards for tight ends by 160 yards. He's just doing it so quietly because he's not exploding. He's just being consistent every single week.
I think people are annoyed because their expectations were way too high.
Yeah, they were stupid high.
How many times did we say on the show that don't expect him to be a top 3, top 4 tight end because rookie tight ends don't have success?
Yeah.
We got our draft board right there. He went number 4. And I think that's a great spot for him to go because he's got tremendous talent when it comes to a dynasty draft, but it's not a guy who's going to make an immediate impact on your team. So
yeah,
people had way too high of expectations.
They did. And even with him underwhelming, as you want to say, with already a bye on hand right now and, standard half-point PPR, which is what Johnny's league is, he's the tight end 10 on the year. And
that's great.
That is awesome at not having a game already out and people thinking that he's disappointing, which means if he even if say he catches 6 more touchdowns the rest of the year, he's gonna finish the top 5 tight end easily. He's been playing incredibly well. It's just not up to 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns. Well, no, that's stupid for you to think anyway.
Right. I wish I had Kyle Pitts on my team right now because in Johnny's league I've got Logan Thomas, who's now injured. I've got David Njoku, who decides to either put up 0 points or 20 points. You got Evan Ingram, who is terrible. And I got CJ Uzama, who had the 1 big week. I was hoping he could replicate it. He hasn't.
You should have picked up Ricky Seals-Jones. I think Alec just picked on, or Graham, whoever it was. He's been playing really well.
But I don't feel like it's going to be sustained. I don't think the success is going to be sustained for him.
I think it will be for at least
because you bid $25 on him in one league.
I didn't get him.
In EBD, no, I know, but you were going for him.
Yeah.
And you bid a lot, but the other person bid more.
No, I only bid a couple of dollars on him in that league, but he's good. I needed a tight end anyway, but he's gonna be a good enough guy while he starts because Heineke kind of needs to throw to the tight end because he's not a great deep thrower. Yeah, he's not good at all. He's horrible. So he needs to throw to close enough. And RS Chase, he's athletic enough where he can get open, on short range really quickly and try to get the ball to him, and he can just take a bunch of targets. And once Logan Thomas comes back, Logan Thomas will step in and have that success. I would rather the tight ends than the receivers almost in Washington for the rest of the year for fantasy.
I also just hate their offense.
Oh yeah,
their offense is if Antonio Gibson can just come back and play well, I would love that because that's all I need. Though.
He's real. I have him in 2 leagues and it's painful.
But I need him to. Okay.
I would like him to perform as well because I'm sick and tired of being 1-5 in Nick's league, which I've lost 3 games in the last 3 years.
He just can't score touchdowns. The first, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks, he had double-digit points each week, but it was around the 12 range.
Yeah.
But he just didn't have touchdowns. So I'm sick of fantasy.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I'm sick of it.
It really is stupid.
He misses practice again today. So
it's a bad bounce.
Yes, very bad bounce. But I got Cordell Patterson as a $0 free agent pickup, so I'm very happy about that. But that's going to do it for our fantasy talk. Let's move to picks of the week, yeah?
Yeah, why not?
You currently sit... Oh, I didn't adjust it, actually, so these are all wrong. I'm 59-35. You are 63-31. You are in the lead. Garrett 1 game behind you. Everyone else is currently tied at 59 and 35. So 4 games back from you.
And Vegas is?
58 and 36.
So we're still all better than Vegas.
All of us still better than Vegas, yeah. And for those of you curious on why all my stats are on, I just put in everything as before the Buffalo-Tennessee game, and I had Buffalo winning because why would the Bills, who are blowing out people by at least 2 scores, why would they drop a game to the team that just dropped a game against the Jets? Well, because I did exactly what I did.
Yeah, they would have won if you didn't do that.
I'm sick of it, dude. Like,
I'm sick of you.
All right, let's go. Picks of the week. Thursday night game. Denver at Cleveland. Cleveland, a 2-point favorite, even though they're without Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and others.
Yeah, that's a tough blow. This is going to be a weird game. I really don't know which way I want to go.
I don't think I really want to watch it, to be honest.
I don't know if it will be. Like, I'm going to go with the Broncos. I don't like it. I really don't. I think if you are looking for a defense in fantasy and either one of these are available, you should pick up either one of these because like this game might finish 7-3.
Yeah, I'm not excited for this game. Another big injury for the Browns. I think they have 2 offensive linemen that are out. So no running backs, no quarterback. The offensive line's hurt. Jarvis Landry's gone. Like,
yeah, they have no receiving talent as well. I don't think OBJ's playing again too.
Yeah, so you got DPJ, Case Keenum, Dearness Johnson, and Demetric Felton.
Might start DPJ in your league.
I might start David Njoku. Oh, is this the week he goes for another 20?
Maybe. I mean, they should just cut Austin Hooper so he can do it every week.
I agree. Carolina at the New York Giants. Carolina is a 3-point favorite.
They're going to safely cover that one.
We've got Carolina as well. The Jets at the Patriots. The Patriots are a 7-point favorite.
Yeah, I got to go with the Patriots on this one. This isn't going to be another game I really don't want to watch. I don't think it's going to be that good of a football game, but the Patriots should cover.
I don't think they will cover. I've got the Patriots winning, but I feel like the Patriots just play people close, whether it's a bad team or a good team. They're just always going to play people close. So I feel like the Jets might give them a little scare, but I still have the Patriots winning.
Is the line 7 flat, or is it like 6.5?
7 flat.
Yeah, that's an interesting line because like that very well could just finish as a push. Like they could win by exactly 7. That could very well finish as a push.
All right, you got Patrick Mahomes traveling to Tennessee to play Derrick Henry. The Chiefs are a 5.5-point favorite.
I don't want to bet.
Upset of the week?
I really don't want to bet on the Chiefs. I really don't. So I'm not going to. I'll go with Titans. Why not?
All right.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, have a day. Why not?
Well, that's because you have him on every single.
I have him in a lot of leagues.
I'm going Kansas City here. I just think they're the better team. I was shocked, absolutely shocked, that Tennessee beat Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean this is not a pick I feel awesome about, but like at the same time,
the Chiefs have not looked great either.
They don't give me anything I want to cheer for.
Right. Washington at Green Bay. Green Bay an 8.5-point favorite.
Yeah, they're gonna win this one. That spread seems a little high, even though Washington's defense has been kind of sus, but. They could cover. It's right in a spot where they could cover. I'll go Packers and have them cover. Why not?
I've got the Packers as well. I think Green Bay is a very good team. I don't think they're a great team. Like I think when it comes to the playoffs, they're gonna get beat quite quickly. I don't see them making another NFC championship, but they keep playing teams like Washington and like the Bears, where they're teams that you expect a little bit of something, but you just get nothing.
Yeah.
Atlanta at Miami. Atlanta is a 2.5-point favorite.
For good reason, because Miami looks like they're just terrible, and Atlanta's coming off the bye. They're rested. They're going to adjust a little bit. They're going to be able to come out with a win in this one.
I'm going Atlanta as well. I mean, I really want to go Miami because I'm a Brian Flores guy, and I just want to see the success for both Washington and Miami to return. But I bet on them too many times, and I've been burned by them too many times. So... like last year, how Atlanta screwed me over so many times. This year, I'm shading Miami. I'm not picking them.
That's fair.
Here we go. Are you ready for this one?
Sure.
Cincinnati at Baltimore. Baltimore, a 6.5-point favorite. Through 6 weeks, you have gone Cincinnati 6 times.
Make it 7.
Oh, boy. Making it 7. They're going to move to 5-2 and first in the AFC North? Or first in the AFC, regardless.
This isn't a meme thing. This isn't just a ride with them. I genuinely think the Bengals are going to win this game.
I don't. I've got Baltimore just because Lamar has been so good this year, and the Bengals don't know how to stop Lamar when he's actually running the ball.
Yeah, but this is the first game against them this year, right?
Yes.
So the defense is very different with the Bengals this year. They actually look competent, so a little more faith there. Joe Burrow legitimately looks like a top 5 quarterback in the league. Legitimately, like throwing the ball, he's a top 5 quarterback in the league in terms of reading the field. He does everything you need. I've got a lot of faith in this team.
When we were at the game, did you know how good Burrow was actually playing? Like, obviously he was doing well. He was throwing some good passes to Jamar Chase and everything. But when I saw his stat line, I'm like, holy shit, he had close to 300 yards and 2 touchdowns?
That's the thing with going to games. Like, you don't notice how good the quarterback, you notice how good everything else plays, I feel like, except for the quarterback. The quarterback, you just notice him delivering the ball, and then the receivers making the play, or the running backs, finding the gaps. Like, that's what you find, or like notice more, is what I've noticed in my 22, 23 years going to Lions games. But yeah, he just looked like, like he was just doing his job is all it looked like.
That's a fair point, because everyone knew Jared Goff was playing bad, but I didn't know he threw over 40 times.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't realize what the quarterbacks are doing in the game. You realize what everything else is doing when you're in person. It's so weird.
Well, speaking about Detroit, they are traveling to L.A. Jared Goff versus Matthew Stafford, the first time the two quarterbacks are going to be playing their former teams. This is the second biggest, odds spread. The second biggest spread I have seen in quite a while. It is a 15-point favorite for the LA Rams.
That's a lot. Wow. Jeez.
And hey, before Chase makes his pick, I do want to say, when we were at the Lions game, when we were at a tailgate, Chase, I don't know, did you have a beer or a Truly or anything like that? Or were you just sipping water? I don't know.
I was drinking Diet Pepsis at the game.
No, I know, but like at the tailgate.
The tailgate. Yeah, I had something. It was like a Bud Light lemonade thing.
So maybe the booze was talking, but he did say at the tailgate, if the Lions are still winless when they go up against the Rams, he is picking the Lions. So Chase, your pick?
You don't understand how badly I want to choose the Lions in this one.
You've got a big lead.
Yeah, but then I'm going to start playing my big lead, and all of a sudden it's only a 2-game lead. I got to go with the Rams. Like, I really want to go Lions this one because I think the Lions are going to cover the spread. I don't think there's any chance to lose by 15. I really don't.
Graham, I'm going to need you to get down there in the comments and just tear Chase a new one because you were at the tailgate with us. He said he was picking the Lions. And now he's not going to.
Yeah, I really want to because I think Jared Goff is going to actually bounce back from the public criticism and going back to LA, and he's going to be ready to play and be dialed in. I think he's going to actually play well for the first time really all year. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to overcome the Rams because like the Rams just have everything going for them.
Could you imagine if Goff balls out 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, they take the win, he walks out just giving the bird to Sean McVay on one side and the national media on the other side?
That would be fantastic. I'd be so happy. I would be very happy to get this pick wrong. Let's just put it that way.
If that happens, are you confident with Jared Goff for the next 10 years?
No. God, no.
It'd be such a great picture, though.
It would be awesome. It'd be my phone background.
That guy's got balls.
Yeah, it'd be my phone background until he gets cut in the offseason.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, Philly at Vegas. The Raiders have a 3-point favorite.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Raiders in this one just because the Eagles do not look very good overall. I was surprised that the Raiders won last week, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were gonna have a little more transition under the new coach. I know,
I did too.
Like sometimes the new coach like sparks, like a little bit of a flame underneath people, and they play a little better. But I thought with the circumstances, it wasn't going to be quite that way. But they won. Now they're playing the Eagles, a team that is definitely worse than them in every single way. So go Raiders.
I've got Vegas as well, and then I didn't announce. I thought it was pretty obvious, though. I was going the Rams.
Lions,
yeah, going with the Rams. All right, now we move on to the biggest spread I have seen in the NFL in quite some time. You've got Houston at Arizona. Arizona, a 17.5-point favorite. For bad reason. All right, Chase, going Houston. Nice.
The Cardinals are going to cover, too.
Oh, boy.
The Cardinals are going to be 7-0.
So big, though. 17.5. That's 3 scores.
The Cardinals are going to cover. They are.
Gosh. Could you imagine if they do it by 2 touchdowns, 2 extra points, and a safety? That's how they cover.
Just exactly 18 points. That'd be crazy.
I mean, I'm going Arizona, obviously, but
yeah.
to cover, like, that is such a big spread. So I'm just not going to comment on that because we don't have to.
You don't have to. I just like doing it.
All right, Tampa and Chicago. This one is down in Tampa. Tampa a 12.5-point favorite.
These lines are huge this week.
They're huge.
Well, the Bucs are going to win. They probably cover. This would be a toss one for me. This is the closest one for me. I would, if I had to bet on them, I'd bet on them to cover, but like I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being.
All right, this one I will talk about. They're absolutely covering. Brady is still pissed about some poor performance recently. Only beating the Eagles by 6, barely pulling out a win against the Patriots. He's coming out for a vengeance. He's back at home, Raymond James, so he's going to be coming out with a vengeance. Going to absolutely kill the Bears.
All right, why not?
Indianapolis at San Francisco. I almost said Indiana. Indianapolis at San Francisco. San Francisco a 4-point favorite.
Niners win this one.
Because of Trey Lance?
Maybe if Trey Lance plays, maybe he gets a rushing touchdown, maybe gets 2 in the air as well. I do think the Niners win this one, though. It should be a close game. It should be a pretty good game, I think.
I've got the Niners, but I kind of want to switch. Like, if Trey Lance is playing, I kind of want to switch it to Indy.
Do it then.
So I guess
coward.
I'm going to keep it at San Francisco right now. But for everyone listening, if there is an announcement that Trey Lance is going to be the starter, I will switch it before the game. So I'm just going to wait for that.
Soft.
Hey, Garrett always makes switches before the game.
You did this last year, too. You made switches before the game. I did it once, and then I just like, nah, let's just roll with what I got.
It never goes in favor of Garrett, though.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it's great. All right, New Orleans at Seattle, the last game, the Monday night game. New Orleans, a 5-point favorite.
That's it?
Yeah.
They're going to win by like 12.
Upset alert?
No, New Orleans is gonna smoke them. Are you kidding me? Like the Seahawks have Geno Smith can't throw the ball. They have Chris Carson, who is not going to play. Rashad Penny's going to be their main running back. The defense is still underwhelming with the Seahawks. The Saints are going to kill them.
I've got New Orleans as well. Even though I'm not a big New Orleans guy now.
They're clearly better than the Seahawks right now.
The Geno Smith.
The Seahawks right now.
Yeah, if Russell Wilson's in, I'm taking the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's fine. But like the Seahawks right now, this week, they're very, very clearly better.
What's happening with the New Orleans quarterback situation right now? Because wasn't Taysom Hill in for a little bit, and then
he still gets some of those like plays that he got with like Drew Brees. I think that's really all it is.
Is Jameis okay? Is he alive?
Like he's fine. He's just Jameis.
Yeah, just 150 yards and 3 touchdowns somehow.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, the last thing we want to talk about before we go ahead and outro the show is that next week gonna have 2 episodes out. Hope you're ready for that. I put it in your schedule, so. Hopefully you remembered.
I did remember.
But we are going to do an NFL episode like usual, but also going to be doing another college football episode because the following, that's going to come out next Friday, the Saturday right after is going to be Michigan versus Michigan State, as well as Penn State versus Ohio State. It's going to be a huge weekend for football, college, and the NFL combined. So going to have 2 episodes, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to talk more college football.
Oh, yeah, me too. Very excited. We do it sparingly throughout the year because the NFL is kind of the focus, but, I love talking college football.
We do it a lot within the friend group, too. So if it's not on the show, we're still talking about it. But that's going to do it for the show. Any last thoughts to our lovely listeners?
I really do hope the Lions win this game. Like, I really do. It would be great. It would be hilarious. It'd be so funny. It's kind of why I did pick the Rams, though, because I do think that, like, really the Rams, like, there's no reason they should lose this game. So if the Rams win, I'll be happy I picked right. But if the Lions win, I'll be very happy because the Lions won. It'd be hilarious. That's all I got to say.
I kind of hope to see that Jared Goff graphic. Him going crazy and then flipping the bird to McVay and the rest of LA. I think that would be awesome.
And then he just gets like suspended for the rest of the year. David Blau takes over, and then they go to the playoffs.
Yeah, Giuseppe's texting me about trade offers right now or something.
What a silly goose.
He's mad at Chris because Chris offered a 3rd for Evan Ingram.
Okay, well, maybe because he's worth it.
I mean, I'd give up like $2 a fab for Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I wouldn't even trade for Evan Ingram right now. Not worth it.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the show. We want to thank you so much for coming out and giving it a listen. If you are on YouTube, if you could please give us a like, comment, subscribe. We'd really appreciate that, as well as hit the bell to turn on notifications. If you're on a podcast platform, if you could please give us a follow and a 5-star rating. We would really appreciate that. If you want to stay up to date with all that we do, you can follow us on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. That's again on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. And we also have a Facebook and Twitter that you can follow. And we've got a TikTok now.
We do have a TikTok now.
So we're going to be doing some TikToks, some video pieces for TikTok, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I just got a trade from Giuseppe as well.
Oh, no. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the episode. We want to thank you guys so much for coming out and giving us a listen. And as always, we're not professionals. Not liking it. Bad trade.
Bad.